Hey, Mark Farmer, Life Success Engine. I am going live simultaneously on YouTube, Life Success Engine on Facebook, and my own personal account. So this will be fun. I've actually wanted to do this for a while. We'll see how much of a shit show this is. Because I'm starting really loosely with not a whole lot of plan. But for those of you that follow me personally, you know how much I enjoy talking about dating and the dating world. I think that there are two areas in life that reveal the secrets of life and how we really view the world. One is how we spend our money. Can be really, really profound. People will say that they value one thing, but then the way they spend their money is differently. And I think that what you do with your money reveals more about you than anything that you say. But the second area is how we date, who we date. And so I've wanted to do this for a little while. I'm Mark Farmer. Stay tuned. This will be Life Success Engine. Welcome to Life Success Engine, the engine that drives your life success. Join us for top tips and interviews on life's greatest techniques for success, goal setting, and motivation. Mind, body, spirit, relationships, and wealth. Whether it's running your first marathon, finding the partner of your dreams, or earning your first million, we cover it. Now, here's your host for Life Success Engine, Mark Farmer. Hey, Mark Farmer, Life Success Engine. Preemptively, a couple things. Number one, I got my COVID vaccination, my second out of two, about 3 days ago. So I'm still a little bit rummy. I'm one of the 50% that did have some side effects for that. So I'm not completely here mentally. Number two, I'm approaching today's broadcast without a huge, structure in mind. But I love talking about dating. And I think for everyone, dating is pretty much a shit show. And so I've wanted to do this for a little while. This really is for me to have fun and to put myself on the edge a little bit, to be a little bit vulnerable and stick myself in a live broadcast, start getting used to this. One of my good friends, Kolea Hara, wants to say that anytime he sees somebody sitting in front of a mic, in particular with headphones on, that he's going to tune out. So I've, in a bid to him, I've taken off my headphones. Although if we get people joining the stream, and I hope anybody joining will leave a comment so I know that you're here. And I would like for people to join, because I'd like to talk with people genuinely about dating directly. It's so much more engaging to actually talk about real life circumstances than hypotheticals or abstracts. But so if you join, please like, please share, and please let me know. The platform that I use to stream live doesn't let me know who's there. It lets me know that somebody's there. For right now, I do see that there's a couple of people that are watching, but I've got no idea who is watching. So if you'll let me know that you're watching, I would love to do that. I'm going to go ahead and grab I'm going to grab an invite and invite people that if you would like to join this broadcast, I'd love to have you there. But the topic is talking about dating. So I plan on going over some general dating advice. I'm going to search online for what other people are recommending as dating advice. I think that 90% of the advice, I'd say that 99% of the advice that is given is full of shit. And so I'll be refuting some of the standard advice everybody gives for dating. But I would much prefer to talk with people about their own dating. So if you want to join me, let me see. I'm going to post up right now on the chat, and hopefully somebody can let me know if this actually came up underneath. I see several viewers. Let me know if you see the invitation to join the chat. If you want to talk about dating, then put that into your browser. I can bring you in with video. You'd actually be on, and we can talk about dating. But until people decide if they want to be a guest or not, and until we get to that part of the show, let's just talk about dating. Look, dating is one of those things that everybody does. had to do at one point in their life. Dating is something that everyone thinks that they know how to do. Everyone has a strong opinion about it. And the fact is that all of us generally suck at dating. And for me, there's this huge disparity between how people think dating should be done and how you can actually effectively date. I feel that I've always enjoyed systems. I've always enjoyed hacking systems and trying to figure out the most effective way to do something. And so dating being this intersection between how people act, no matter how they think they act, and something that we all need or want, relationships, has always fascinated me for how we approach that. And so anyone that follows me on my personal page knows that I've talked a lot about it. But the best way to start talking about dating is just to jump into it rather than just talk about theory. So let me share my screen. And we are going to actually share screen. Go and look at some of the standard advice that is offered. Microsoft Edge, new tab, share. You should be able to. What do we got? Yep, there we go. All right, I'm going to click over to there. And let's see, dating advice for men. Shoot, not for men, for men. I think this is where people really get things wrong. I came up with some of these. Let's just start here. Not luxury. Again, if you're just joining the broadcast, if you add in your comments or thoughts, I would love to see you. I'd love to respond directly to comments. But 25 essential pieces of dating advice for men. Let's take a look at this. And so don't just be a good guy. You know, it's funny because when I do this, when I think about these things on my own, it's not so distracting as knowing that I'm actually doing a live broadcast. Don't just be a good guy. You see this all the time fronted for advice. What does that mean? Don't just be a good guy. Women don't want a good guy. They want a great man. Oh, okay. So it's not good enough that I just be good. I need to be great. What the fuck is being a great man? Like, I thought they were going with the direction that you should be a bad boy or something. Stop chasing women all the time. So this is something that I actually really, really strongly agree with. And I agree with this for men and for women, that if you take a scarcity perspective to dating, if you start with the assumption that there aren't enough people out there to date, that perspective drives you to hold on to everyone and try to make those people into what you want, rather than the alternative, looking for somebody that actually matches you. And I think that it's so much more powerful to look for someone that matches you rather than to try to chase or turn what you have, what you've got into what you wanted. So I agree with that regarding success, men and women. It says instead of becoming an interesting man, women can actually connect with. What? Instead of becoming an interesting man, women can actually connect with. You will end up sacrificing parts of your life. Yeah, I'm not sure really what they're going with there. I agree that you should not chase women. I think the ultimate for men and women is just being who you are and looking for somebody who likes that. That's ideally what we're looking for. But I definitely agree with not chasing people. It's kind of mundane advice. I'm looking for something a little bit more profound than that. And generally, I'll agree with that. Don't waste time on things that you can't always. Don't waste it on things you can't always obtain. You know, it's just, this is kind of some really shallow. Be yourself. Absolutely absolutely agree. Confident man has nothing to prove. But this is where I think that they get it wrong. I don't know any of us are confident. I think that all of us, there are things that we're confident in. I think that it's great to lead with that. But this general concept of being confident, everyone is nervous on a first date. Is one of the things that I talk about in dating, that I've literally gone on hundreds of dates, if not thousands. At my prime, I was dating between 1 and 3 times a week. And I don't know what that means. A confident man, an arrogant man believes you must prove everything. Don't compete for women. This was always a really strong standby of mine, that if a woman started dropping hints that other people were vying for her attention, I'd encourage her to run off. And thank you very much for the like, whoever it was that. Hey, Marty, nice to know that you're actually there. Oh, interesting. It shows that I've got live viewers, but it still won't tell me who exactly is the live viewers. But so, Marty, I appreciate you dropping the like. Thank you very much. But the advice, have a abundant mentality, be yourself, don't compete for women. Absolutely. This ties back into the idea that you're looking for somebody who likes you for you. There isn't any competition. And the minute that a woman imply that a romantic partner implies that you should be competing or trying harder, that kind of shows that that's not the right partner for me. I'm not looking for someone that I need to work for. I'm looking for somebody who likes me for who I am. And I think that's the ideal of dating. What other advice do we got here? Become confident. We're back around to that. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Become confident. Confidence is a lifelong gift. They don't provide any advice for doing it. Communication is magic. Actions. Live an amazing life. Like, this is horrible advice. What does this mean? Live an amazing life. That's not going to help you get girls or get guys. Live an amazing. If I've got an amazing life, I use the law of attraction. Let's dump out of here. I would really dating advice. Let's go for dating advice in general. If you're just joining me, let me know that you're there. My platform lets me know that people are watching. It doesn't let me know that who's watching. I appreciate the likes, and I have posted an invitation for anyone who wants to join. Feel free to join if you'd like to talk about dating. 12 dating tips that will transform your love life. Apparently we need to scroll through this. It's just not loading. Let's try it again. Again, if you're just joining me, this is an experiment to put myself out on the edge and record some content about dating. I asked a little while ago if people were interested in talking about it. And used to be that a lot of people enjoyed my posts on dating. I'm not so sure if I'm connected to people these days that are currently in the thick of dating. Nor do I know if I'm doing that profound of a job in this broadcast in sharing my thoughts at this point. These quality men look for in women. Man, I don't know if I'm going to agree with this. Trust me, I would do much better with a conversation. But whatever. I'm still going to continue to put myself out on the edge here and post this, although I might delete it immediately after I'm done. I'm kind of looking for top 10 advice that we can talk about. If you do have questions or thoughts about dating, if you want to share your own dating stories, would love for you to pitch it in even after the broadcast underneath. Maybe the takeaway for me on this is to actually plan or arrange some guests before I go on. What's the best dating advice you've ever received? If it acts like a duck, quacks like a duck, it is a duck. Don't waste your time with a duck. I do believe that. I agree with that quite a bit. I think that most people reveal themselves in the first 5 minutes of meeting. I think that you can learn an immense amount of people if you stop projecting and hoping what this person will be and start just listening and viewing what this person is. I think that if a person indicates to you quickly that if they talk about maybe lying or being dishonest or hiding things in their life to other people, then that is how they're going to be with you. If they talk about, striving hard to achieve something in their life to impress other people, that's going to be their value system. I very much agree with the idea that if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it is a duck. When somebody apologizes for the action, then continues the same behavior, it's not an apology, that's manipulation. Agreed. I think that the most profound communication is what people do, not what people say. And I think that too many of us get caught up in listening to the words and ignoring the action. I know that that's always been a lifelong problem of myself, that all I need is a good, effective, heartfelt explanation, and I'll give you another chance. Huge mistake. I think just pay attention. If we only paid attention to what people did, that would be far better. Far better to orient around where we want to go with that. What else we got going on here? Never invest in somebody based on how much you like them. Invest in them based on how much they're investing in you. No, I disagree with this. Never invest. I'd like to see whether or not this highlights it for everyone. Yeah. Never invest in someone based on how much you like them. Invest in them based on how much they're invested in you. I think that there is a quid pro quo that goes on in dating. I think that you should be aware of the quid pro quo, but it's a balance. There's nothing wrong with being more invested in somebody than they are with you. Does it leave you out on the edge and vulnerable? Sure, yes, it does. Should you continue in a relationship that it maintains that forever and never changes? No, probably you should not. But I completely disagree with the idea of using somebody else's investment in you to decide whether or not you invest with them. That becomes a zero-sum game. That becomes a race to the bottom. Who shows who the least amount of attention? And if I want more attention, then I'll just show them least attention, because I'm not, the advice says, right? The advice says that if they're not giving me attention, then I shouldn't give them attention. And so I'll show them less attention. There's a balance, and you shouldn't be using other people's actions for direction for how you should act. You shouldn't use other people, if they treat you poorly, for an excuse to treat them poorly. You shouldn't use their level of attention or attraction for whether or not you invest in them. Maybe they are busier with work, or maybe they are, you're not really looking for a partner at this point, and you just showing some persistence and interest in them might catch their attention. It's not uncommon to have relationships where somebody else was more interested than the other person, and then have it grow. But it's not a zero-sum game. It's not a balance where I'm only going to be interested in them as much as they're interested in me. Never pursue a woman based solely on how hot you think she is. Agree with that. Instead, pursue the kind of girl, the honest girl, the sweet girl. Maybe I don't want an honest or sweet girl. Maybe I want, maybe I want a party girl. Instead, pursue the kind girl, the honest girl, the sweet girl, the funny girl. The sex will be just as good. Not true. And the chat will be better in the morning. Maybe I don't want to talk in the morning. This is a little bit of projection. This is the assumption that everybody's dating for the same reason. There's nothing wrong. I'm not going to judge you for dating for what you want to date for. If you're dating because you're looking to get laid, that's up to you. I think far more important than why you're dating is that you be transparent about why you're dating, and you look for people that are looking for the same thing. So that if you want a relationship, I would agree that hotness is not the best indicator that she's a good quality person. I'll just say that I don't think that you should pursue anyone. Number one, I think you ought to be who you are and pay attention to who's attracted to that and who you're attracted to. And then this pursue a kind girl, the honest girl, the sweet girl, the funny girl. I'll leave funny out of it for the second. I completely agree with these. If you're looking for a relationship, if you're looking for something long-term, somebody that's kind, honest, and sweet. And at the same time, we have to find somebody. Where's the word? We have to find somebody that we think is attractive. Both of these are mandatory. No matter how much you think he likes you, you're still single. If you're still single, he doesn't like you that much. This is a negotiation. That's kind of bullshit. Particularly in today's society where people are so tentative. and the woman waits for the man to make the decision. The man waits for the man. If it's a same-sex couple, the woman waits for the other woman to make a decision. This is a negotiation. If you're still single, it's because maybe you haven't let them know that you want to be in a relationship. If you're still single, maybe it's because you don't have the ovaries or the balls to stand up and tell the person, hey, why don't we be monogamous? I think this is bad advice, and I disagree with this idea that no matter how much you think he likes you, if you're still single, this is just this dysfunctional, codependent. A woman who dates other women. Oh, I like this because this is authority. This is an authority signal, right? Because I'm a woman and I date other women. I know. So I didn't even read the rest of I didn't even read the rest of the sentence, and maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, because if she then goes in to share that she somehow has insight about women, just the fact that your woman doesn't give you insight into women, it gives you insight into you. And just the fact that you date other women doesn't give you insight into women. It gives you insight maybe into the women you date. But if you haven't screened out for your own projections, all it does is give you insight into how you see the world. Let's go ahead and see what she has to say here. As a woman who dates other women, I've set a little rule that works well. Whoever chooses the restaurant pays for them. All right, she's going in a different direction. My soapbox might have been needed for nothing. I've set a little rule that works well. Whoever chooses the restaurant pays for the meal. You know, the loose rule that I used to use was whoever makes the invitation pays. It's assumed. Let's be blunt. In today's day and society, it's the man who pays. I think men would do well just to assume that. I used to belabor and bemoan this for a long time. It's just kind of what's accepted these days. It's just what's expected. I know that millennials and Gen Z do it differently. You know, Gen Z does it by not going out to a restaurant at all, or bringing food along, or hanging out with a group of friends, where it's not a question of one person paying for someone else. Millennials are kind of in the middle, or there's this independence where the insistence that they pay for themselves, but that just creates awkwardness. But you know, as far as whoever chose the restaurant pays for the meal, I like where she's going with it, because she's in essence saying, if you chose an expensive restaurant, cool, you're paying for it. But let's be blunt. To be honest, it for the most part, in heterosexual relationships, it will largely depend on the man to drive things, and the man's just expected to pay. That's just kind of the way things are. So eat lots of pineapple. I'd love for people to post into the comments if they understand what they're talking about down there. I have intuition talking about, but I'm not so sure that that's just not my own projection. So a lot of women are fearful of speaking up about racism or sexism because we've been conditioned to believe it means giving up a part of our desirability. I'm not sure why we're speaking up about racism or sexism on the first date. If the conversation naturally comes to there, cool, awesome. Let's talk about racism or sexism. Your current events, if we're talking about, maybe, but there's almost a militancy to this that the first date doesn't need to be about testing the other person. It genuinely can just be getting to know them. There's a lot of women are fearful about speaking about racism and sexism because we're conditioned to believe it means giving up a part of our desirability. We cling to our desirability because we've internalized the belief that our worth is determined by how desirable we are by men. I agree for the second statement. I'm still curious where they're going with this. I agree that women are socialized to see their value in whether or not they're desired as sexual or desirable objects. A part of us knows that to speak out, show anger, be loud, risks us being depicted as angry feminists or the difficult woman. Look, this is going to be my own projection on this one. Honestly, usually the only kinds of people that you hear talking about this are the angry feminists. In your first date, why is it so important for you to establish yourself as a woman that has an opinion? And stick with me here. Why is it important for you to establish yourself as somebody who has a strong opinion? Instead of working to establish yourself as having a strong opinion, just have a strong opinion. And I think that it's some really old-fashioned thinking, the idea that men want soft, unopinionated women. I think I'm not sure who planted that idea in this person's head. It's not me. It's not most of the men that I am friends with. It isn't many of the hundreds of men that I've talked with about dating. I don't think men have a problem with strong opinions. I think everybody, men and women, have a problem with aggressive, argumentative people. And I'm wondering if this person is substituting the idea of being argumentative for having a strong opinion, because they're two very different things. If you're getting labeled as the angry feminist or the difficult woman, in particular, if you're getting labeled as the angry feminist, I'd offer it's possible maybe you're an angry feminist. You're either hanging out with the wrong people, or maybe you're an angry feminist. I think the challenge here comes because I can also imagine someone saying this who is not meeting the kinds of men that they want, or the kinds of partners that they think that they want, and thinks that this is the reason why they're not meeting them. And there's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. But if you're regularly being confronted with being called an angry feminist, take a look at the kind of man that you think that you want, or the kind of woman that you think that you want, if this is a lesbian relationship. All right, who knows? Maybe you're a man dating a man that's been accused of being an angry feminist. I've been accused of being an angry feminist. But take a look at the man, the partner that you're chasing, or take a look at maybe you're an angry feminist. Let's finish this off. Something we know men finally find higher, very undesirable. Tell you now, give it up. Don't continue shagging your racist boyfriend. Honestly, I feel like this one is projection. I feel like the person's has experienced this in their life, and they're dealing with a personal issue where they continued in a relationship where somebody kept on saying that you're an angry feminist. In general, if somebody that you're dating labels you in ways that you don't want to be seen, I would agree. This comes back to my earlier point. Don't hang in a relationship trying to pretend to be someone else or trying to change yourself. Just look for people who like you. But this one is too full of it feels too full of projection. It feels too full of self-fulfilling beliefs. We cling to our desirability. I agree with the general idea of working less to be desirable and more just to be yourself. But there's just too much going on in that one. I think the person is way too complex of a theory of dating. Simplify it. Just look for somebody who likes who you are and doesn't talk down to you, and just look for somebody that you like. Never stay the night at a friend's with benefits. After sex, sleepovers lead to feelings. This is so millennial. Dine and dash. This is so millennial Gen Z. God forbid anybody catch the feels. The last thing in the world is that you want to actually have feelings. I think Gen Z and millennials are doing themselves a disfavor. Sex is powerful shit. It brings up endorphins that bring powerful feelings. And it's frankly inhuman, the idea of having sex and not having feelings. If you think that you are capable of having sex regularly without having any feelings, then you're in denial. You are not woke or just in a new generation. I'll go on the record as saying that. Don't fall in love with potential. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, potential is a huge watchword. The minute somebody mentions potential, that means that you're not happy with who the person is. And rather than look for somebody who has potential, which really just means that you're working to try to change them. Or God forbid somebody say that you have potential, which really just means that they want you to change. Dump out of that and find somebody that you like now. Look, that's 30 minutes. This was an exercise for myself to see if I could go online and see where this went. It's been interesting for me. If you're watching this afterward, drop a like or let me know what comments you would like to talk about. I love talking about dating because, again, for me, dating is the intersection between how we think the world works and how the world really works. What we think we want and what we really want all come together. So that would be my half-hour ideas of what it is. I wish you the best. Where is my outro? Video clip outro. Wish you the best. Drop a like, drop a follow. I'll talk to you later.